Will you send a push? Hi, everyone. Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio, bringing you live coverage ahead of this afternoon's national championship match against Texas coming up in a little over an hour. And we have team coverage as we have Sports Director Kevin Sjuts, who is live right now in Amalie Arena. So we're going to bring him up in boxes here. Kevin, the Huskers just arrived in Amalie Arena just a few minutes ago. Take us through the scene. What was it like? And what are you expecting here as we get ready to start this match in a little over an hour?
Bill, will start by saying happy championship day for the Nebraska volleyball team. The Huskers take on Texas here at Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Sorry, there's a big echo in my ear. That was for the pause, and obviously a very hectic scene just moments ago outside Amalie Arena as the Nebraska volleyball team arrived here in front of thousands of red-clad fans. Even when Texas arrived ahead of Nebraska, there were Go Big Red chants. There were some signs that said horns down, and that's what some Nebraska fans were doing as well as the Texas players made their way into the arena. Nebraska, they're in the locker room right now. This match is scheduled to begin at 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock Eastern. Actual start time, those guys, for everybody that's watching this and is going to watch the television broadcast today, first serve is officially set for 2:20 Central Time. So there's going to be quite a bit of fanfare ahead of this game. They're going to turn the lights out through starting introductions. And keep in mind, this is the first time in the history of college volleyball that the national championship is being televised on network TV. It is on ABC. Now, Bill, to answer your question of what it was like outside, it was just a sea of red. You saw what it looked like on Thursday ahead of Nebraska's Final Four match against Pitt. You can add a few more hundred red-clad fans to that. And, man, it was quite the hero's welcome for this Nebraska Cornhuskers team, which is looking to cap off a magical season with an NCAA title. The Huskers enter this 33-1. Texas, meanwhile, is 27-4. However, the Longhorns enter this match as the hottest team in college volleyball. They dismantled Wisconsin here in Tampa earlier this week.
Kevin, this would just be, the storybook ending to a storybook season. You go back to late August, Volleyball Day in Nebraska. It almost seems fated that Nebraska should not only just end up in the national championship this year, but potentially win the national championship this year. Again, it will be a very tough match. Do you have any prognostications as to what you think might happen once the Huskers and the Longhorns take to the court?
Yes, it does seem like destiny that Nebraska is here in the NCAA final, given everything that has happened this year, all the records that were broken, and just this magical ride with this young team for Nebraska. As for a prognostication, Bill, great question. There were some media members that arrived pretty early for the national championship, and we were all discussing what do we expect out of today. No one seems to know. There is a Vegas betting line for the college volleyball national championship. It favors Nebraska, but not by much. And just moments ago, I looked at John Baylor, Nebraska's esteemed play-by-play radio announcer, and he even said he thinks Nebraska is an underdog today. I know the record indicates otherwise, and just everything that has happened this year for the Huskers and the seeding, it would indicate that this is Nebraska's game to win. But here's the deal with Texas. They're the defending champs. They haven't lost in the NCAA tournament since the Huskers beat them in Austin 2 years ago. And it's hard to imagine a scenario, if you're a Texas fan, in which Asia O'Neal does not cap her historic career without a national title. She and Maddie Skinner will be number 1 and number 2 in terms of Nebraska's defensive focus, a pair of All-Americans, and O'Neal recently was the number 1 overall draft pick for the new pro volleyball team that's starting up here in the United States. So there is a way Nebraska could lose this match. Don't assume that it's a Husker win. It is going to be a titanic matchup, and John Cook described it. If the Huskers could win this in one word, he said it would be epic.
Epic indeed, Kevin. Again, I think I remember that question. I think Bergen Riley said historic, but it would be a heck of a match. what have the crowds been like? Again, this is Nebraska, Texas. I think the semifinal match set a record for an indoor volleyball match. Again, with obviously Nebraska holding the overall record there. But have the Huskers and the Longhorn crowds been kind of a little antsy, maybe getting a little squirrely at all ahead of this matchup?
Antsy, everybody's antsy. You don't have to just be in attendance to be excited for this match. But the good thing here is, yesterday the weather here in Tampa was not very good. There were some very high winds, and there was a lot of rain all day long. And I think it chased some of the fans that were hoping to mill about around Amalie Arena and in downtown Tampa. It chased them indoors. Yeah, they were still out at the restaurants and doing some shops and hanging out at the hotel, but you didn't get that vibrant scene in downtown Tampa that you experienced on Thursday. However, the rain stopped overnight. It's actually pretty pleasant outside. It's in the upper 60s, and I think that's what has lent itself to a lot of these fans maybe feeling antsy. They've been out there for quite a while waiting, and they're still out there right now because you can still get drinks. You can still experience the fan zone for the NCAA that they have set up out there. And the patio area outside is just filled with red, and soon that will be the case inside Amalie Arena here. You would guess that, the crowd discrepancy, it's going to be over 80% in favor of Nebraska, and there's a very strong likelihood the attendance today will set the NCAA record for a championship match, for an indoor match, and then TV viewership will likely be at an all-time high for this sport today.
Kevin, we're obviously going to have a lot of coverage throughout this afternoon and this evening with the match. Can you kind of walk us through what people who are watching right now can expect following the conclusion of this match, what they can expect to see from us on 1011's platforms?
Yeah, good question. First, I'll say what's going to happen on the TV broadcast because this is on ABC. It's not going to be match point and the TV broadcast signs off. I would presume that they're going to present the championship trophy on network TV, and then there would likely be a couple of interviews that happen with John Cook and maybe one of the star players. That's assuming Nebraska wins. It could do the same if Texas wins. I think that the TV broadcast will extend a little bit. And then after that, there are going to be press conferences. Should Nebraska win, we will have live coverage on 1011, on 1011now.com. We have a 5:30 newscast. We'll continue to show as much video as we can and share with you the scene, the interviews, and then we'll wrap it all up together coming up on 1011 News at 10 o'clock tonight. But there's going to be a lot that happens between now and 10 o'clock. So stay tuned. 1011now.com, bookmark it, and then also you can follow on our YouTube page as well.
Absolutely, Kevin. That's where we are live right now on YouTube and on 1011's platforms. Kevin, we'll go ahead and let you go. Thanks for jumping in. Again, match time starts a little over an hour, and like you said, we're going to have a ton of coverage. So, Kevin Sjuts, thank you very much. You go enjoy watching the match.
It's going to be a great time. Can't wait.
All right, again, that was Sports Director Kevin Sjuts live from Amalie Arena, again, ahead of the, national championship match, Nebraska and Texas. Again, and as you heard him say, that first serve is scheduled for 2:20 this afternoon. Again, not right at 2:20. So, again, that's when you can expect to see that. And then, again, flip it over to 1011. As soon as that is done, we will have a ton of coverage. Again, assuming the Huskers win. Again, even if they lose, we're still going to have a ton of coverage. Again, in our 5:30 newscast, and then obviously coming up tonight at 10. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and for watching with us right now. Again, sit back, enjoy the match. Again, starting in a little over an hour. And we will, again, obviously have all the coverage for you tonight. So make sure you keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of the latest.